70s, no 80.
Hmm.
And they all said it was 78.
We all set?
That's not bad.
Nope.
Kevin, how are your
Now?
bees?
I just started.
No, is it just a one
Sorta.
push thing?
Yep.
Okay.
If they'd stay in the hive.
We don't want to get a finding of
Glad we're not the
by
only one that has
starting
problems
late.
with
you know.
that.
Yes.
Everybody does. They
Okay,
just don't
time.
behave.
We could have caught him as they call you.
Behave. Behave.
Welcome everybody to the QVSD board meeting of 27th of May. If you stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's kind of a scary view on the screen.
I know, I hate that. Hi, Sheila.
Hello, good evening.
That came through loud and clear.
All right, I'll quiet down then.
No, I was just marveling at how clear it was. Okay, welcome everyone. We appreciate the time you've taken to come tonight's meeting. We'll start out. The second thing on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes of our regular meeting of May 13th, 2025. Is there such a motion to do that?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ron. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any additions or questions or anything about those minutes? All right, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for May 13th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. They're approved. Motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion, we adopt tonight's agenda.
All right,
Second it.
all right, thank you. Any questions, deletions, or additions to the agenda? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Don't hear any, so all in favor of adopting tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. It is adopted. Public comments and questions. And I don't see anybody out here that raised their hand. Nathan, anybody raising their hand where you are? Good. All right. Well, welcome concurrent viewers. And if there are no comments, then we'll move on to the highlight of tonight, our Spotlight on Success, the Business Professionals of America competition starring one Cody Tomlinson.
Hello.
Hello.
So good evening. My name is Cody Tomlinson, and I am a sixth grader from Inside School of Washington, and I am parliamentarian of our chapter, and I am here to talk to you about our career and technical student organization, Business Professionals of America. Next, please. This law has forged the way in the state of Washington for BPA. In September, our club meetings started and our students signed up to be a part of it. In November, we decided and registered for what competition we wanted to be a part of. Over the course of the next few months, we worked on our competitions that had to be submitted the first week of January. In March, we had to do a live presentation in front of a panel of judges through Google Meet. At the end of February, our team found that we had placed in the top 10 and we were invited to National Leadership Conference in Orlando, Florida between March and May. We worked on our showcase that we had to present at NLC. The showcase did not affect our placement for the competition. Showcase allowed us to present and show what we had done for the competition, and others got to vote on it on Best in Show. Next, please. BPA allows students to find and explore different technical and careers that they may be interested in, there is a wide variety of different paths that a student may explore both virtually and in person. Since ISWA is an online school, we chose to do it all virtual competitions. Next, please. Here are a few examples of the different virtual competitions: business administration, finance and accounting, information technology, video production, human resources, computer programming, graphic and web designing, and a small business internship. Next, please. BPA is a student-run organization, and our goal is to create opportunities for learning and professional growth with a focus on business, also friendship and support while developing business and professional skills. We encourage participating in the competitions, but they are not required. All virtual competitions are at the national level. National level includes students from all over the United States, Puerto Rico, China, and South Korea. Next, please. The path to getting to nationals are expressing an interest in competing and reviews. The different competitions offered from from forming our teams. They have both individual competitions and teams of 3 or more students submit the entry for round 1 via a slideshow. If you pass round 1 then you move on to round 2, which is presenting in front of a panel of judges via Google Meets. If you place in the top 10 for national, they come. Okay, so that is the one thing that I noticed. So if you place in the top net for, you are invited to nationals to attend National Leadership Conference while at NLC. You compete with all other students from middle school through college for best in showcase. Showcase does not affect your top 10 rating for national. Next, please. ISWAN has a middle school and high school team. We had 4 members and 1 individual that entered the competition. The competition we chose were ethical leadership, social media marketing campaign, branding, and multimedia and production. Next, please. Our middle school team chose the social media marketing, and this is what brought us to national. Our challenge was to create a campaign for Healthy Bites, and our targeted audience was 12 through 25-year-old. This competition was the same across the board for middle school, high school, and college, university, but we were only judged, competed against our own level to make it to national. Next, please. In addition to our presentation, we also had to complete the meta certification exam through Setaport. Our combined average from Setaport was used in round 1. This we extremely new to us. We were given study material and learned as much as we could about Meta and their product. This test was extremely difficult. Our combined score had to be over 700 out of 1,000 to pass. Next, please. This is the design that we came up with for for our Healthy Bites presentation. The second picture is us finishing out the presentation to the judge. Next, please. We created a video for TikTok and made an Instagram post, a website, and YouTube to market our product. Next, please. Here is a sample of our brochure. I also brought some with me if you would like to have one. And next, please. This is the inside of our brochure talking about Healthy Bites and giving an example of a few key fruits and vegetable ingredients we use. Next, please. Our BPA team ranking for national leadership for 2025 are as the following individual competition: Bailey from high school, 11th placed, and mixed media promotions, and our middle school teams, 11th place for virtual branding and 7th for social media marketing. Next, please. Here are a few pictures from NLC. I represented Washington State in the parade of flags. I represented in a job shadowing of our national officer. I got to walk with the national officers and help raise money for Special Olympics. And I got to visit Disney World and our national showcase. Next, please. Shadowing the national officer was I was one of only 3 students accepted for this opportunity. I had to go through an application process and obtained a letter of recommendation, getting to meet other members of BPA, networking with other students and advisors, having a wonderful support from our school, my advisor, Dara Schultz, my parents, and the Quillue Valley School District, being able to drive across the country with my parents and see things I would not otherwise not get to see. Next, please. Thank you for allowing me to be here and present to you today about our journey through BPA. I appreciate your support and support for our school and CTSO. Are there any questions?
How long does it take to get a box of Healthy Bites?
That is.
We actually did make some at home
Yes.
to try and test out, but we weren't able to travel with it back for the national showcase.
Wow.
So how many students are on your team?
We had 3 in total. I was 1 out of the 3.
And did you meet personally with those 3 before you presented? Or is this all done virtually?
This is all done virtually.
Wow.
So you were 11th and 7th place finish? And
Yes.
that's worldwide?
Yes.
China and South Korea?
That's
In
amazing.
Puerto Rico. Yes.
Jeez, that's exceptional.
Well, if this is any indication.
Yeah.
But this is just part of it, right? This is part of what you produce.
Yes.
What was your favorite part?
Just
of
getting
this journey?
Getting to use basically doing communications, because I am a part of Boy Scouts as well, and communication to me is very key to a successful business and running it.
So is that what you, right now, I mean, I know you're in 6th grade, it might be a little early, but you aspire to be an entrepreneur?
Yes, I am. I am actually planning on starting my towing business. Actually,
Towing?
yes.
Don't you have to drive first?
No.
I guess you don't really. You hire those people, right?
Yeah.
So do you like presenting in person or virtually better?
Both. It's one of those things where, yeah, I prefer more or less presenting in person because I can't rely on the technology that well. Because especially during a lot of events and stuff, because I help out at a church as well, we've had a lot of technical failures, and we've had to come up with things right on the spot.
So what did you see on your trip across country?
We got to stop at Mount Rushmore actually, and also basically get to see family down there.
See who?
Family.
Oh, family, good. In Florida or South Dakota?
Florida and Tennessee
Oh, neat.
and Mississippi as well.
So if I call this number, I can order something? Is that what you do?
That would end up, so.
School.
Yeah, that goes to the school.
Goes to
So
school.
we use the school phone number and also the school's address.
Okay, so if I log into this, you can't get on there and order. Oh, my.
There's nothing.
I'm still working on it. So we're gonna see you on Shark Tank pretty soon.
So what is one of your favorite things about being with Insight?
Basically getting to see new people, because there are some places in Washington that I've never really been. So, and getting to hear about like small little towns like Rancholas is really cool.
Awesome.
So sports.
And he's been with us since third grade, is that right, Cody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so he
Oh,
started
okay.
with us in elementary.
Are there any younger siblings under you?
No,
You're
there's
the-
not.
Okay, but,
But his brother graduated.
right, that's what he was saying. His brother graduated a couple of years ago. That's pretty exciting. So we'll see you in a couple of years. Yeah, maybe we'll see you back here. Are you gonna, this, business, we had one of those ones, I thought, didn't we? Have a business?
BPA,
Yeah.
not for a long time.
Oh, yeah, I thought it, been a while. Well, that's cool. How many people in your club? Or in the?
We have a total of 3 in middle school, but including high school, somewhere about a dozen total.
Okay. Did any of the high schoolers, want to compete, or was it just you guys?
They did as well, but did not make it to the top 10.
Okay, wow, good for you.
Can I say?
You may.
So they're 11th place, they were 1 point away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow,
On the other one that they did.
pretty sweet.
Yes.
Who won first?
I don't
I
remember.
don't.
And who cares?
I do know that it was live, so unless they've already sent out the live feed and stuff from whatever platform they did, you can probably check back on that and see.
Well, we want to thank you, Cody. We have 2 QVSD shirts. Did you bring a medium or a small?
A
Didn't you?
medium and the blues. We don't have any smalls for any of
No
them.
That's fine.
smalls.
Medium works for me.
We would like to present you then with 2 shirts for QVSD and congratulations.
And by the way, I'd just like to say your presentation to us was excellent.
Thank you.
Your, what is the word? Your presence. I could never have done what you've done in the 6th grade. Not a chance. I couldn't have done it in the 10th grade. I'm not sure I could do it now.
I'd like to say too, is he's our youngest member out of the BPA team. The other 2 teammates were 8th graders.
Yes.
And he is our youngest on our team. And he actually reached out to the teacher when he saw that it was presented for our school and reached out to the teacher himself and advocated for himself to be able to be part of the middle school team.
Oh, very sweet.
Awesome.
Yep.
Why did you do that? What did you see that you just, thought you could do it?
Yes, and also it was something that I've seen as, okay, because I wanted to start my own towing business, I couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I just thought, okay, look at what like stuff there is just to like help clubs and stuff that would go towards that. And I found BPA. And so I kind of, because I had, when my brother had Dara Schultz for Skills USA, I still had her email and stuff, and I just used that and contacted her through that way.
Good.
We weren't originally gonna have a middle school team for BPA, because Cody reached out to Mrs. Schultz, is the reason why we had it.
Okay, and did you recruit the other 2 to come, or?
Victoria was,
She reached out
She-
also after Cody,
she also reached out after me.
but we did recruit Zamari, the 3rd student.
Yep.
Very good. Wow, that's really great.
Good job.
That's a lot of hard work
Yeah.
and creativity.
Congratulations.
You've done
Thank you.
yourself proud.
Yeah.
Keep up
And
the
thank
good
you
work.
for being here tonight, traveling all the way from Port Angeles.
What do you mean all the way from
Thank
Port?
you.
That's right. Nobody in Port Angeles ever comes out here. You're a first. Well, good. Well, thank you so much. And do you have any questions for us?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to stay. It's pretty exciting. But if you need to get home, do your homework, that we understand that too.
He got his homework done, but he's got Boy Scouts tonight.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind
Yeah, you better get rolling.
Very
7
good.
o'clock, 7 o'clock?
6:30,
But we told them we'd be late.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, because,
because we kind of knew, we didn't know how long this was gonna be,
well,
so.
usually
kinda
we
gave ourselves
usually
that
we make the presenters wait till the end. So you know, no, I'm kidding. Good. Well, you travel safely then. And
Thank you, everybody.
what rank are you?
I am currently tenderfoot, but I just need my Scoutmaster Conference and Board of Review for first class and second class.
Oh, good. How old are you?
I am
12?
12 years old.
Yeah.
And my goal is to get my Eagle before I am 16.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, you probably will.
Keep that passion.
I put my money
Yeah.
on you.
We'll look for your towing business here in about.
I'll give him a week. All righty. Well, thanks for coming and thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Well, that was excellent. And kudos to Insight for encouraging that sort of endeavor. Okay, let's move on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we adopt tonight's consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any questions about it? I did notice my mistake, Diana, so I forgot to read the heading.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Cindy Fiesel for her tenure with our school district, and I would like to say how much we've appreciated it, especially the last 2 years with her revitalizing our alternative learning program and combining our homeschool with our alternative learning into one. They've made some huge progress, and so kudos, Cindy, and she and Mark will be moving back to Montana here shortly. We really appreciate everything she's done over the years with for our students, staff, and our families.
Well, thank you, Cindy. We wish you well. It gets cold in Montana, though. Any other questions or comments about the consent agenda? Not hearing any. All those in favor of approving tonight's consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. It's approved. Let's go to reports. Financial report. Diana, take it away. The rest is all yours. Enrollment and budget.
So this is for our budget status for April. Our revenues were 9% of our apportionment for the year, which totals about 6.7 million. Our expenditures were under for a net total of 96,000 for the month of April. And so if you look at our overall net cash and investments in the general fund with our county treasurer, we're about 15%, a little over last year. We're almost at 10 million, 9.9 million. And then you can see the trend is very close to what we've seen for this month of April. And we maintained our 5% minimum fund and have about 9% of our overall budget at $6.4 billion some odd dollars. If you look at our budget status reports, one of the things that Jan was looking at very closely was our ASB fund. She was thinking that she and Brandy, who is our new secretary for ASB, they were looking at potentially having to do a budget extension, and we are not going to have to do one. So that's good. We saw some additional in our debt service fund. We saw some additional timber sales, and I don't believe this is related to the ones that were accidentally reported to UW or given to UW. I don't think we've seen those yet, but we're currently over what we budgeted for at 126,000. I think we're at 105% of what we were budgeting. And then if you look at our general fund and you're looking at revenues, we're just right about 60%. So again, we're about 2/3 of the way in at the end of April. And we're I'm going to go into enrollment here. We're really not quite what we thought we would be, but we will not have to do a budget extension in the general fund. So questions regarding any information there? So the month of May for enrollment, we typically see a decline in May, April, May, and June, especially in brick and mortar. But I'll show you where we are at for the year. On the average, we're down 33 FTE. And I think next year, I'll bring next year's budgeting numbers. We're going to see another decline. Our current enrollment for kindergarten sits at 48 FTE, which is the lowest we've seen in a long time. We're generally about 80 students. And my understanding is, this is a first year with ECAP across the state where they couldn't fill all of the seats. And my understanding is with the preschool program, they used to run 2 programs or 2 sessions, and this year they ran 1. And so I think we're starting to see the effects of what they call the baby bust, where the next generation of kids will shrink. And I don't know, I don't believe we're missing students that have generally been in programs up through TK. So when we're looking at elementary, we're down about 12 FTE. I think Sarah sees movement from time to time in different grade levels. Elena is really pretty much dead on, a little down a few, right around 240 students. And then at the high school, we're right around 200 students. And then of course our Homeschool Plus program, currently we're averaging 44 students in the mix. And then with Insight School of Washington, Myron's here.
Yes.
We're still seeing additional numbers for the month of April, adding up again almost 112 for the month. That's not on the average, but that's the elementary, and you're done taking students, right?
We're no longer approving students. As of this morning, our elementary had about 730 head count.
And then this similar trend with the middle school at plus 195. Where you at in the middle school?
Right now, our head count as of this morning is 966.
Wow. Okay. And then high school?
We are 2051 as of this morning.
Oh, you're practically right on.
Yeah.
it is.
So do you have a waiting list starting to grow?
No, we're approving for next year. So we've closed down enrollment for this year and we're starting enrollment for next year.
Okay.
And so if you look at the average though, we're below what we had budgeted for the month. We're really about dead on. And again, this just gives us that cushion so we don't have to do the budget extension like we've done, I think, the last several years.
Okay, thanks. We have a state audit report.
So in your packets, I put the exit report from the state auditors, and Jan and I met with our auditor and then the regional state auditor in our area. And I would like to report, they reviewed, I think, 10 different areas in our, so they always do a single audit. They look at our financials and they look at one federal program, and then in the next year where they have accountability, they looked at 10 different things. It was pretty intense. We didn't have an audit last year because they ran out of time. So we were 3 years since we had our last, we were considered low risk. So we were 3 years since we'd had our last accountability audit. We came out with no findings, no management letter. We did have one exit item on Open Public Meetings Act regarding our executive sessions, which we've talked about. We currently are now in compliance. And what we have to do when we go into executive session is make sure we state what we're going in executive session for, what time we're going in, and what time we will be back out. And remember, we cannot come out of executive session early. We have to stay in executive session for the timing. So. And they
We've been
reviewed.
doing that though, haven't we?
We have, yeah, this year we have, but not prior to this year. They went back and reviewed minutes and could cite, I don't know, 15 times where we came out early.
We don't like to waste time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, overall, I'd just like to congratulate Jan, Kyle, my immediate team in district office, and then our building principals. It was really pretty hefty, all the areas that they reviewed. Can't even remember what all they reviewed. Title I, but smaller things too. Yeah. Our purchasing, they reviewed our stadium project to make sure that all of our procurement, that we followed Illinois, everything, and we really did extremely well.
So this went all the way back through COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when we were doing Zoom meetings?
No, it would have been, no, it would have been the late 2021, 21, 22, no, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, because it's everything
Yeah,
3
'cause I
years
mean,
prior.
They ought, I don't know, the Zoom meetings would be that was kind of hard to do.
Mhm.
But good job.
How long did this take?
They started in January and we just finished. So, and they came in $7,000 less than what they thought it would cost, but it was $50-some thousand. Yeah, that's what the cost was.
Well, good job, everybody.
They were very complimentary though. They said it was a pleasure to work with us. We obviously know what we're doing. The longevity of district office helps tremendously. And they just said it was a really smooth audit.
Give us our 57,000. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that, and thanks for everybody who participated in the audit. Leadership report. Washington School Recognition Program.
So our schools that are in the formal Washington School Improvement Framework, WSIF, WASIF process, and all of our 3 schools are considered WASIF schools because of our low performing on the Smarter Balanced or other indicators. But we received news that for the 2023-2024, Forks Elementary School is getting recognition for closing the gaps and growth. And that means that out of all of the, I don't know, hundreds of schools in school improvement, we were in the top 20% in improvement in with our Smarter Balance scores and attendance. And then our middle school is also receiving recognition, and I'll be getting the banners. They're quite like this banner over here. Sarah's school got one in 2022. We did not get that banner until last year because of COVID. or early this year. They were a little, but I will be getting the banners Friday at a meeting to recognize both the middle school for closing the gap. And I believe in closing the gap, that showed that every student population made progress, meaning they showed growth over time. And so congratulations, Sarah and Elena.
Where will the banners go?
Well, the team just decide where to put him up.
In the gym.
And kudos to our staff really, because they're the ones that are doing all the work, and so, and our students and families, because I think they work hard for this, and I'm hoping that we get another banner.
In 3 or 4 years, when they get it here.
Yeah. I think they get it.
Just in looking at, you can go in and see, they have, the kids are finished testing now for the most part. And so scores are starting to come in, and I will tell you that there's at least one grade level in Sarah's building that is performing above the state level. And there's at least one grade level in Elena's building that is right at the state level in both, at least in ELA, if not ELA and math. We still have scores coming in. They're not all in. But you can see some huge gains. And I think a chunk of that is the work that we're doing with our PLC and our identifying those standards because teachers are having to review and learn those standards. And we'll see improvement next year too. I'm really excited about it.
I think our curriculum adoption has helped too, because their ELA is looking better.
Yeah.
I would echo that in the Wilson and phonics curriculum that we adopted. I had seen in REL, he scores as really bumped in the 3rd grade.
So hopefully with the math adoption that we just did, we'll see growth in math next year as we're seeing in ELA.
Great. Sounds good. Looks good. It is good. All right. Let's see. Is that it, Diana?
Yes.
Athletic report from Kyle. Winter and spring reports.
Yeah, so I think we had a fall report and then we didn't get a winter report, so I'm gonna try to catch you guys up on both winter and spring. So again, kind of the big picture is student engagement, and we know that when kids are participating in extracurricular activities or activities in general, that their attendance is typically better and grades are better. So we're always kind of watching the participation window, which is why I included that participation data. Again, if you look at kind of our enrollment is subtly declining, but our participation still kind of hovers around that 50% mark, about 47% for winter sports. And then you can kind of see the breakdown by each sport, how many kids are participating. And then academic recognition, again, we always want to highlight our student athletes because student comes first, and it's education-based athletics, meaning that there's standards that you need to meet in order to participate. And so for the winter, we had 42 student athletes that had a GPA of 3.0 or higher, or almost 30% of those kids. And we had 28 students that were above a 3.5. Couple of things that we're particularly proud of as far as academic recognition. One, our girls basketball team got a WIA recognition award, which is a distinguished team award, which means their combined average GPA as a team was above a 3.0, is actually 3.458. So they got WIA recognition as a team. We're pretty happy about that. And then in wrestling, each year the state tournament, the Washington State Wrestling Coaches Association recognizes individual members that have qualified for the tournament, are a junior or senior, have a winning record, and then the person with the highest GPA is also considered an academic state champion. And so it was pretty cool this year because Abraham Montalegre, he won an academic state championship, but he also won the actual state championship in wrestling. So he doubled up. He was an academic state champion
Good for him.
Champions weight class, so that was pretty exciting. And then as far as like season highlights, we really had a successful winter season across the board as a school district. The girls were co-league champions in basketball. Boys were 8-0 league champions. The wrestling team won the district tournament. So we literally won everything within our league across all three of our high school programs. And then the other thing that we're pretty proud of is the girls basketball team being recognized for the League Sportsmanship Award. So I know I've talked with you guys about our work on Positive Coaching Alliance, working with coaches on some of the standards about being a successful program, character training, character building within our programs, working with our parents. And so to get recognized for the Sportsmanship Award, again, I think is a good indicator of the work that the coaches are doing with the kids. And also kind of noticed that typically, sometimes when they give out awards at the end of the year, like the Sportsmanship Award usually goes to the team maybe that's maybe not the highest record, but you can see that our girls were academic success, athletic success on the court, and then they also got recognized for sportsmanship. So huge credit to Coach Hearn and the work he's doing with the girls basketball program. Really successful season. And then individually, you can see some of the all-league individual honors. First team all-league, Bailey Johnson, Chloe Godesky. Second team, Avery Dilly. And then Finley Peters and Brooklyn Rondo were honorable mention. On the boys' side, again, first team individual recognition, Brody Laushi and Titus Rowley. Second team, Kyle Rangel and DeAnthony Davila was honorable mention. And then Coach Weeks also was recognized by his peers as Pacific League Coach of the Year. And then wrestling, they had a new format this year. They typically have a league tournament, and then you go to a regional tournament to qualify for state. They changed the format this year, so it's straight to state, they say. They just have the one district tournament. So the neat thing about that is you actually qualified a lot more kids. A lot more kids got an opportunity to go and participate. You can see that we took 19 kids to the state tournament. I think we took almost every single kid that was on the team. And the other really cool thing is they ended up placing 6th as a team. Coming from a team that was 2nd last year and graduated a whole bunch of kids. This was really a young group. I mean, where they started and where they finished, the amount of growth they made to place in the top 10 was pretty incredible. I didn't think it was possible. But it was really a team effort. We had a lot of kids that didn't place, but they scored points or won matches. You can see it. Braun again took first place in the tournament. Dominic Sanchez was a freshman, he took 3rd, and then Kenny Damon, our heavyweight, who cut from 345 pounds to 285 pounds.
Wow.
Placed in the state. So, and then on the girls' side, they did equally as well. They ended up 2nd in districts, finished just behind Montesano. We only had eight girls in the lineup, and all 8 of them qualified. And so out of 72 teams, and the girls' state tournament is combined, it's a single A, a 2B, and a 1B tournament. So quite a few more teams and participants. They ended up 8th out of 72 teams in state. And Peyton Johnson made the finals, and Jade Blair was 3rd as a freshman. So we were pretty good winter season, pretty successful. And then spring is just kind of wrapping up. And so again, you can look at the participation data for the spring, kind of around that same mark, mid-40s, almost 50% of our kids are participating. We haven't finalized academic recognition. They're still doing that right now, totaling that for the spring, so there's no WIA recognition. But we do have some season highlights for baseball. They finished 3rd overall in the league, qualified for districts, and then again had some individual recognition. Landon Olson's first team, Mason Dent, Connor Clark, Cordell Hordesy, 2nd team, and Lane Helvey was honorable mention. Girls fast pitch, there's kind of a theme here with the spring, a lot of 3rds. Girls fast pitch was 3rd in league. Same thing, qualified for districts, didn't quite make it to state. And had some all-league recognition with Chloe Godesky and Avery Dilly being first team, Billy Johnson and Finley Peters being 2nd team, and Brooklyn Rondo, who I believe is an 8th grader, honorable mention. So boys soccer season kind of ended pretty fun. They went on a winning streak. They were right on the bubble of qualifying for districts, and so they really had to win 3 or 4 games in a row to do that, and they did, which kind of set up the final match with Elma in Forks on a Thursday night. and the winner of that game got to qualify for the last spot in districts, and so they ended up doing that. It was a pretty exciting game to watch. And then track and field is just finishing up. You can see we sent a pile of kids to the league tournament. We had 4 league champions: Noah Foster, Brian Lucas, Erica Williams, and the girls 4x400 relay team. And then I didn't have this on your guys' sheet, but I just added for state. We ended up qualifying 11 athletes for state, and they're leaving tomorrow morning for Yakima. So Noah Foster will represent us in the 200 and the 400. Gage Willenbrink, long jump and high jump. Erica Williams, in the 100 meter. And then our girls 4x400 relay, which is Sky Hester, Libby Owen, Molly Long, Caitlin Cooney, Elizabeth Morrison, Danica King, and Erica Williams. And then Karina Nandel in shot put, and Reagan Dunn in javelin. That's our state track team that compete this coming week. And then last thing I wanted to share with you is, again, the work that our coaches have been doing around professional development. Again, I think it's a good indicator of the board and their support. We put money aside each year for coaches to access professional development dollars. So we had 38 paid or volunteer coaches. Of those 38, 16 of them engaged in some form of professional development. So again, 42% of our coaches are going out and taking trainings, trying to get better and improve. And those trainings range from national NFHS courses, like fundamental course of study, just kind of fundamentals of coaching, all the way up to like sports specific Nike coaching camps, football, basketball. It's kind of a whole range. And so it's really nice that our coaches are accessing that. Again, I think talk about our kids getting better every day, and the best way to get them to do that is to model it. And so our coaches are really working hard to become the best coaches they can be. And I think we've got pretty good results. So we're pretty happy.
It's great.
Great, thanks, Kyle.
Yep.
Do we have a spot in the gym for academic champions?
Got a great big banner up there that says girls academic state champions.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put them right up there with our team awards if we get a big state award.
All right, any other questions for Kyle? Comments, okay. Board member reports. I'll just open it up. Does anybody have anything?
Oh, no, tomorrow night's the,
Hidden in plain sight.
Yes.
Yep.
I plan on going. Anyone else
I do
going?
too.
yeah,
I'm
go.
going.
You're going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I've watched it on TV before, so I hope parents, grandparents, community members, I hope they take advantage of this. I'm excited.
Okay, anybody else?
I just want to say good luck to the track team this week at state.
Hope all that training pays off. Good, all right. Myron or Sheila, do you have anything for ISWA?
The only thing I was gonna add, because I'm talking about next year's numbers, just so you kind of know, we already have 72 students approved that are brand new to our school for next year. Already approved and coming on, and we have 2,500, approximately 2,500 of our current students that indicated they're returning going into next year. And of those, about 1,200 of them, 1,300 of them are already approved for next year. So we're starting to fill in for next year now.
That's great.
We do. The biggest thing is that chasing that choice transfer. That's
Is
the biggest
doing
thing.
what?
Chasing for the choice transfer for the kids to stay in our school.
Oh,
You have to get permission from the local school district every year
oh, gee.
to transfer to Killian Valley. And so
Is
right
that,
now we have already, as of this morning, we've accepted 1,200, 1,300 choice transfer returning kids. We still have a few more to get.
is that getting to be routine, or is it still kind of difficult?
For families that have been with us for a long time, they are. In fact, I was talking to Cody's mom. She says the moment re-registration turned on, she went in, logged in, got her re-registration turned in, and then immediately did a choice transfer. Her kid's already ready to go for next year. But she's been around long enough. For some of the newer families, we message them, they're like, I'm already attending, why do I have to do this? Well, the state says you get to do this every year, so.
I was just going to ask why, once you're in, do you have to do it every
It's a state regulation currently.
Okay.
It's actually, the RCWs don't require it, the Washington Administrative Code does.
And then the portal was down for a month. Was it a month?
Yeah,
Or
well,
is it still down?
no, it's up right now, but
Okay.
when Cedars went down, when EDS went down, it took everything offline, including choice transfer. So we're back up, though. We've been back up for about a couple weeks.
Do you ever have a school not okay at transfer?
On occasion, we will, oh, you mean other districts, not okay?
Yeah.
Right now, most of the districts work and are, except they don't get in the way of it most of the time. We don't see that very often. Many years ago, we used to see that a lot,
Really?
where districts would, so like, what I heard, like the district I actually live in where I actually lived a few years back, before they would approve you to leave, they would first want to funnel you to their in-district online program before they let you try to go out. But they're not doing that anymore. I think that OSPI has kind of let them know that's not really how the law works.
Good. All right, well, that's good news. I'm glad to see all these kids getting some kind of attention and some education. All right, anything else for the good of the order under? Then we'll move on to old business. We need to approve board policy 2413, equivalency credit opportunities.
So you can see the changes in red, and this was a really outdated policy. And one of the huge parts of this is for elective credit for paid work experience, which is just approved for this current school year by legislation last year. And so that's a big one for especially our local kids. I know we had a good discussion today for how that might affect Insight. There's one portion in here that we didn't put yet, and that is mastery-based credits, because we need to do some work with Brenda and Myron. And I'll bring a revision back where we would include that. So what it might look like is that we say a student who passes the Smarter Balanced assessment in their 10th grade year could recover a half credit of English if they failed English, because that would demonstrate that they've made that. School districts who've already put this in place, the mastery-based, where they get a portion of a credit for passing the state test, they said it really motivates the students to do well on the test. Like in talking with other superintendents, North Mason has noted that it has changed the behavior of some of the students, because they know they can recover and demonstrate that they have the skills for that. But there's some local decisions we'll need to make, so I'll bring that back. But all the red is other information that is allowed by the state policy.
So the credits that you get for working, are they just a general credit, or do they go under some
It's
specific?
considered a CTE credit, but the student has to demonstrate or put a student statement of how it will help them understand finances, that financial education component, and then it has to be noted on their 4-year high school and beyond plan that they can't, I worked here for 2 years and I want 2 years of credit or 2 credits. Instead, they have to pre-plan for what that would be.
Okay.
This is almost all new.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
So okay, never mind. This is not a new policy though.
No, an outdated policy.
Right, okay. Any other questions on this policy for Diana? If not, is there a motion to adopt board policy 2413?
I'll make a motion to adopt board policy 2413.
Thanks. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no. It's adopted. Discussion now of the House Bill 2050, which does affect us, maybe not right away.
It will take effect on in January of 2026. It died in the Senate, was revitalized in the House. It was passed. There were, for example, Chapman voted against it, but it sat on the governor's desk. And so what this does is for our local effort assistant, that is the money that we get because we passed our levy. because we're property poor, it would be the money that we would get. So in the formula, what they have done is they have reduced 9 school districts whose LEA, whose population of ALE, that is Site School of Washington, is more than our brick and mortar, and they've reduced it by 33%. So they will cut 33% of those students in the funding model. I projected, and so I put the numbers in the new formula to see how it would affect us. We will still probably collect 20.5 million over 4 years, like we told our voters, but feels like it is targeting schools that provide services to online learning, ALE programs.
Can't we take it to the Supreme Court?
Well, instead, Insight, we have a lobbyist, Carolyn, whom I've been communicating with, and our goal is, because OMAC, our sister school, is also affected by this, and it is property poor school districts, obviously. We're going to get a plan together to meet with those 9 superintendents. If you look at the overall, this was clearly a money saver. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. In fact, it says government efficiency when he signed the bill. None of the senators who proposed this or legislators who proposed this even showed up for when he signed the bill, where all the other bills that he signed, whoever was supporting it showed up. And if you looked at the overall amount of deficit that the state has, 13 billion, this was 0.001% savings, less than 1% savings. So it feels like it was targeted. We pay taxes, we passed a levy, we should deserve this. So we're going to counter, get a plan together, and figure out how they could reverse it for next year.
So how much do you think we'll lose? Do you have any kind of like estimate?
We will lose, I think, about $1 million a year.
No. Okay.
It's a little over $1 million, 1.2 million.
Each of those 9, and it's just the 9.
Just the 9 school districts. Yep.
So $9 million, maybe.
Each school district looks
It's
a
gonna
little
be a
bit
little
different, but it's
different, but-
somewhere between 9 and 11 million a year. And again, we have a $13 billion deficit.
Well, they're gonna,
So for the savings, it looks like it's targeting our ALE students and property poor school districts. We did send letters, talk to policymaker under the governor's office. And again, but it just feels like we were targeted.
okay, well, thanks for that update.
Thanks for that.
Let's move on to new business. The CTE 5-year plan.
Every year I get to share with you what we've done in CTE.
Pardon me?
For every year I get to share with you what our plans are for CTE.
Okay, yeah, go.
What we did this year and looking out forward. The Forks part on the Forks High School, Brenda and I weren't able to meet before this, so that's kind of a placeholder for now. She will present the Forks High School one to you on a later date. So I'll just be presenting about Insight today. Sorry, let me get to the first page of it here for me. I can't see the screen. The curriculum development, industry standards and leadership. You've heard about leadership from Cody today and how Business Professionals America did. We also had a high school student with Skills USA place first in the state in medical terminology. She beat out students from Skills Centers doing that, and she was invited to nationals in Atlanta, Georgia. She decided not to go, but she could have had she wanted to. We expanded our pathways this year to include farm tech, pharmaceutical technology. And it's been a popular class. I think it's going to continue to grow. The teacher who's teaching us doing a good job with it. We have 2 farm techs on our GAC for it that can't actually attend the meetings because of their work hours, but they participate in the discussions about what we're teaching and how we're teaching it. We have a lot of dual credit opportunities. Almost every class we offer, I think there's only 3 that we offer at Insight that do not offer dual credit. At the end of the second trimester, we had given students well over 2,000 credits from Olympic College and Peninsula College, just for this year so far. Looking forward, I had some interesting conversations this last couple of weeks in building partnerships with Evergreen Rural Water of Washington, looking at water management and pre-apprenticeship opportunities for the students, which led me down a pathway of looking for financing for that for the students. And I think I've got a hook in that, but we'll see next year when I come talk to you if that works out. And we're also looking at expanding the health sciences opportunities for students. I've been meeting with a person from the Department of Community Health Services, and she's wanting to partner with me and see if we can get students placed in the community health hospitals, doing job shadows, internships, potentially getting jobs there and getting their certs paid for. And that's gonna be something that's gonna take a couple of years to develop. So that's kind of on the 5-year plan for that. Our instructional materials, we added MedCerts into our instruction this year for the pharmacy tech. I like the program. It's something the kids seem to be able to understand. We haven't yet taken the certification test because this is our first time with it. They're gonna be doing that here at the end of this, beginning of next month, I guess, because this is coming in June. So we'll see how that one goes with the students and what the success rate is. But the students, the feedback we've been getting is that the students feel like they're learning and that they're doing well in it. I think
For those that may not know, the MedCerts is actually another, it's another Stride product. It was actually designed for adults, and they brought it into our platform, so our students can take it. So it's designed for like an adult to take the course and then pass the certification test. And they load it into our platform for us to provide for students at no cost.
it's nationally recognized as a certification that can get students into a pharmacy and get them trained to be a pharm tech. So it's like the first step into taking that career. And those are the only real big changes that we have this year from last year's report. So, don't have any questions for me?
And so you were saying that our brick and mortar high school is just not completed at this time? Yeah, but yours seems pretty robust. Ours seems
Yeah, so
kind of good.
what I did with Winford Forks High School is I put it there as a placeholder, so it's just a repeat of what was on there last year. Because Brenda and I, our schedules just haven't meshed the last couple of months.
Sure.
So she'll present to you what Forks is doing.
Yeah, well, I hope it's more robust than what we had last year then.
And Brenda and Jen met earlier today, and Jen is helping Brenda get the dual credit articulation agreement set up as well for Force kids. So what that does is it really allows kids taking these CT courses, if they earn certain grades, they actually can earn credits they sit in the states, so it's called the service system, where the credits just kind of hang there. And if the child wants that credit transcribed, they pay a very nominal fee. It's like $5 or $10 to transcribe the credit onto their college transcript if they want to carry it forward. So they're not, the nice thing about it is that it kind of sits there and it doesn't necessarily negatively impact them or positively impact them until they choose to make that credit part of their repertoire.
So it's kind of like running short for them, or?
Yeah, it would be the counter in CTE. In fact, that's what school districts are implementing to counter going to running start. For example, I know in SQUIM, they have a lot of their programs, what they call dual credit, where they can get that credit at a community college. But again, it's dependent on what that student enrolls. Let's say they roll into a 4-year institution for business, but they've got credits in a different pathway. They may not be able to transcribe them for their program. But it is an opportunity to capture kids. Part of our problem is when we have 200 students and then we lose a lot at the junior and senior level, we can't offer 6 different programs because there aren't enough kids, where you might have an instructor who can only teach one course because that's all you have for the kids. So you would want to say, I need an adult who can teach business, welding, and health science, unless we did some virtual components. And then again, you're taking away from a robust program like culinary arts, where Shelley gets enrollment from, I mean, it's a lot of them.
But we could, one of the nice things that because we've been doing it so long, we can really help, because the school district already has agreements with Olympic College of Peninsula College for dual credit. And we've gotten pretty good at writing what is the articulation
Correlating
agreements.
frameworks.
Yeah.
The frameworks and the syllabi and all that required to get.
So we kind of know how to do it, so Jen's helping Brenda to get that going on for Forbes High School.
For the culinary arts program and welding program.
That'd be good.
And the thing that concerns me about the CTE is that we, especially out here where we're so isolated and so far from everything, not everybody wants to go into the woods or into culinary arts and, or be a medical assistant or something. I see ISW as having kind of more of a statewide pool of places to go to get those kinds of experiences for students. And I worry that we don't have that reach for kids with other than those basic CTE skills. And I'm just kind of wondering, is it not possible to, I know, see, then you get into transport. I mean, there's a lot of, it's rife with problems, but gosh, it seems like there's got to be some way to expand the number of opportunities that we give our students to choose from. And maybe I don't fully understand the CTE process, which is very possible. But that concerns me about our students here in Forks, that, it's, they have a very limited number of offerings that may not appeal to all students. So, anyway.
I know that last year when I was chatting with you guys, the volunteer firefighter thing came up, and that could easily be a CTE. There's a lot of things that you guys do already that if we were to take a look at, we could probably flip it to CTE credit opportunity.
And so who would do that in our school? I mean, Brenda's already up to her eyeballs and beyond in responsibilities. Who would we need to hire somebody? Is somebody be assigned to take that on I mean, how would we, the volunteer fire thing, but somebody's got to be able to go out and do that. Yeah, and set that up. It would
Well,
seem.
and then another key area is having an industry standard person who could teach it, who's willing to get certification to meet all the requirements that the state has.
They have a requirement
to
for
have-
everything?
For us to get what we call,
A CTE
for the
credit.
CTE credit, we get a weighted amount of funding per head, per FTE, for how many students are taking that course. So like if you have a student taking a course, one course, that's a sixth of a FTE funding, but we get a weighted funding. Insight doesn't get the CTE funding because the state took that away from them because they said they can't get it because they're virtual, which is, I disagree.
Yeah.
They don't think we can teach CTE.
But in order to get that, you have to have a certified teacher.
So
You
let's say-
cannot have just somebody off the street teaching it.
Well, let's say somebody wants to go and get some credit, or somehow get some credit at Platypus Marine Services. Platypus would then have to have either we would have to have somebody certified in Marine Services, or Platypus would have to have, for a student to go there and get CTE credits.
They could go through the work,
interning or whatever.
they can do interning, and they can also do work experience. The kid could, that's just the policy that we created.
Okay, but that doesn't require
No.
a certification.
No, it
But would we
requires-
get money for that, for a CTE?
We would, but there are
CTE
certain
credit?
things that somebody in the school district has to oversee. So Shelley Castellano or one of our CTE teachers could oversee work experience. They have to check in with a student. They have to collect their hours that they've worked each month. There's a list of things they have to do.
Okay, but somebody, and that would be possible to
And-
do?
Yeah, they do not need a specific certification for that.
All right. Thanks. Any other questions on the 5-year plan for CTE? Well, how can we pass, I guess we can pass this for insight, but we haven't gotten one from the high school. Should we table this until we get Brenda's input? Because I really don't like what our high school has.
We would need to, yes, you would need to table, so you need a motion to table it. And then a second, and then
And
a
then vote on
vote,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, well,
No
I'll make a
problem.
motion then if,
I'll make a motion, we table the QVSD's CTE 5-year plan until the brick and mortar high school has the chance to present it to the board.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Anybody have any questions on what we're motioning here? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, we'll do it later. Second thing on this new business is the Halberg Pacific Appraisal Service.
In order for us to consider purchasing any land or real estate, we have to have an appraisal. We were considering purchasing the parcel next to the transportation department.
Yeah.
And then across the street, the old Pay and Save, there's, I think, 4 different plots there. And so Bill finally found somebody who's willing to do it. And I looked at the average cost because I think this is going to be about $2,500, and it seems to align with
That's just
industry.
that's
That's
the
the appraisal.
startup.
Mhm.
No, it's 5,000.
It's 5,000. 2 for
25.
one and 3 for the other.
Well, no, it's, and it's 2,500 up front, 2,500 on a completion. So
It seemed a little
$5,000.
bit much, I thought.
This is the only person that we can get to come out.
Does it have to be a certified appraiser?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay,
For us to either consider purchasing or selling, we have to have an appraisal per the RCWs.
should we even be talking about having our eye on these parcels?
What would we use it for?
Well,
Well, I
the
can see the one by the bus
transportation,
shed.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
I can see
But
that.
Pay and Save, what would you do with Pay and Save?
Yeah, what was, I mean, we got to have a reason to do it.
parking,
I think initially the talk was about designing that middle school and the footprint being kind of small and figuring out parking, playground, all that. It just, that it gives you options.
It just does give, it's an
Yeah, it gives you
option.
Options, yeah.
Yeah,
it's prime
we don't
real
have to
estate.
buy it.
No,
It's not gonna be inexpensive, especially the pay and save one.
It would be interesting to see what he appraises it at though.
Yeah.
Is it $5,000 worth then?
So the local realtors don't have commercial appraisers?
uh-uh.
So when the tribes buy something, commercial property, do they not have to have a?
I do not know for them. I do know for the schools you do.
But the state requires us to.
Uh-huh.
The states
Mhm.
don't have any jurisdiction over the tribes in that.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know what would be,
So maybe the local realtor should try and get somebody on their list that, we could call if we needed to, or they could recommend for us.
I think Bill did, I mean, I had tasked him with finding one, and I think that he went through the real estate agents in our area, and we couldn't get anyone.
This guy's out on Lake Crescent.
Hmm.
East Beach Road. Okay, well.
I mean, I can certainly you can table, or make a motion, or not approve, and I can bring back more specific information if you want more specific information.
Well, the one, like Mike said, the one by the bus barn, I can see that, but this one, I mean, we gotta have, why are we doing it? Why would we want it?
Mhm.
Well, Somebody make a move.
I'm torn.
I'd say table it on my end, but
Table it till when? I mean,
And then
to
just,
do
I would
what?
just say that you request more specific information you want me to bring back, or we have another discussion about what we might do with the property, or if we really wanted to spend the 5,000 for what? Or if you want me to just bring back the Johnson Street property over there.
No, I mean, the reason why we would want to purchase that would be a good
I think,
thing to know.
yeah, well, I think maybe we should table it until we can have that discussion again. Seems like we talked about it a little bit a while ago, but
It's been a while.
Or you could make a motion to state that you only wanted that appraised by the transportation and that we would reconsider the other portion at another time after we had more of a discussion of what we might do with it.
That's another option.
That's an option.
Mhm.
Yeah, do that one, Mike.
I could see purchasing that property over from Brittany, leveling that and squaring that up with the bus shed.
Yeah.
I could see that. But still to have pay somebody $2,000 to tell you it's a good deal, I don't know.
Doesn't sound like we have an option though.
We do not, I know we do not have an
We don't have
option.
that option.
The
but-
first year I was here, we had a finding when we had sold houses because we did not get them appraised. That's when we had the houses across from the middle school. I didn't sell them.
well, I move
Yes.
that we table the whole thing until we can talk about it some more.
I'll second that. Can you make a motion?
Yeah, he can make the motion.
I just don't like to, because you guys do it so much better. All right. And if you don't like the motion, you can vote no.
I mean, if we can come up with some good ideas for the Painsay property, I'd be all for it.
All right, well, the motion is to table this until we can talk about it some more. And so we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. All right, we're gonna table that one too, until a later date. Let's try, see if third's a charm. Board policy 2401, financial education mastery based learning and credit. Yeah, I read that. That's pretty interesting. This is a first reading?
First reading, yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna teach the kids how
This
to manage their
allows,
money.
this is the sister one to the work-based credit. So part of it is students learning financial education, and part of learning about financial education is being employed and getting a paycheck, understanding how taxes work, understanding how all that works. So this is a sister.
So is this gonna be
Policy.
strictly high school, or are we gonna
Uh-huh.
start this at the elementary
High
school?
school.
Okay.
Why did it take so long to do something like this?
We used to have it back when I was in high school.
Who would
Something
think?
like this.
It's just the way the legislation has reorganized things. And again, this gives you the mastery based where kids don't have to sit in a class to learn about financial education, where they
Oh.
can experience it outside in the workforce.
But are we gonna teach it in a classroom in
We
some way?
Currently,
Business math or
we
whatever?
currently do teach a financial education. Rob Rogers teaches a course. The kids do not have to have that, but they have an elective.
Okay.
And I believe it's a CTE credit.
Well, you'd think all the credit card companies would get on board with something like this and, pay schools, because they must lose billions
Yeah,
to bet.
pass the class and we'll give you a credit card.
Yeah, and then we'll put you in debt, yeah.
With a $5 limit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, well, anything outstanding you think we should know about it, that hidden agendas or anything, or,
Mm-mm.
no, just goes hand in hand with the work credit.
I am not sure why they separated this one from the other one, but they go hand in hand. To have the other one, you have to have this one too, that allows us to give the mastery-based credit for work-based experience.
So is this then a CTE related thing too? Okay. Yeah.
CTE is the best.
Pardon me?
CTE is the best.
Oh, that's for some. Well, that's it for our agenda. We've exhausted everything. And I can't think of a good reason to keep anybody here any longer, so we are adjourned. Right?
Yep.
Bye,
Night.
Shelley.
Thank you.